It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Welcome to Nerd Breaking News. I am live from Chicago this time around, so that's why my background's a little different. And today, my friends, we actually have a special guest. We have Christian Suarez from the Public Trust Network joining us with this conversation. Today, we're going to go ahead and talk about the Damian Lillard trade. So, who wants to go ahead and start it? Well, actually, you know what? You're the special guest. Let's go ahead and do that. Go for it, Suarez. Tell us, what do you think about the trade today?
Awesome, man. Hey, thank you for the invite. First and foremost, thank you. Hello to your audience. Appreciate you guys having me on, being an honorary nerd. Just want to say, I think you guys are pretty cool, unique takes. It's been, you guys have been fun to watch, and I'm interested to watch you guys grow. So thanks so much for having me here. So as much as Damian Lillard, to me, it just seems like it's an old guy. Drew Holiday and Dame Lillard, I didn't even know they were actually still really making a lot of noise, but it does seem like it's something an organization would do if you had a star, you were trying to make it look like you were making moves. You know, it seems like that's the type of thing you would do. It's a three-team deal, right? So that's a big deal. You know, that's hard to make business that way. I'll give them hats off to them that way. But it looks like the Bucks had to mortgage some of their future. I want to say they got to give away some picks. You know, I don't know if it'll work. I don't think it'll work. I don't think it's what they needed, but I'm glad they're out there trying. That's really all I got on that one.
That is true. All right. So who wants to go in and go be the first one from our analyst over here to take over and put their opinion on what's going on out there?
I recommend the professor goes as our resident Miami Heat fan.
I agree. I probably have the strongest opinion here. So let me set the stage. So you're the Miami Heat, and the most important player for you to re-sign is actually Kevin Love, because Kevin Love is your team's second captain. What the Miami Heat had to do to re-sign Kevin Love is to get rid of Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, because they had to create cap space. You go ahead, you give him his money, and now you got some extra money to go ahead and get some free agents. Who did they get? They got Josh Richardson. Fan base happy, no problem. But they also got Thomas Bryant, who was a player from the Lakers last year who almost took Anthony Davis's job. With the Miami Heat's proper training and conditioning, Thomas Bryant will essentially become Bam Adebayo light. So if you're looking at the Miami Heat's free agency, by doing that alone, they're fine. That is exactly what they needed to do, because for years, what have we said? We have said the Miami Heat is too small. And when you're looking at them now, they have not one, not two, but three power forward centers. And then you got that Jovic kid. If by the time the playoffs come around, he ends up being something, now you have four. So they have solved their size problem over the summer. However, now they have a point guard problem. It would have been nice to have Dame Lillard, but the fact of the matter is the Miami Heat need Dame Lillard? No. They needed a point guard. There are many other point guards that can do for that system what Damian Lillard was going to do on a lighter basis. Granted, you're not going to get the clutch shots, but the Miami Heat don't have a problem right now when it comes with hitting shots. They have a problem with generating consistent offense. So if you added like a Terry Rozier or something like that, you're fine. So going back to, is it Suarez, I believe?
That's right.
Yeah, Suarez.
Going back to Suarez's point, is Damian Lillard going to the Milwaukee Bucks a game changer for the Bucks? No, because the fact of the matter is now they have no depth and they have no defense. So I look forward to seeing them again in the first or second round when they get knocked out once again.
Yeah, I gotta say. That's on the nose.
Hot take.
That's on the nose.
All right, the Eagle, take it. What's your take on this trade right now?
Right. Well, listen, I'm a little bit surprised by the professor's take. I expected something totally different. He went the Heat fan route, which is basically, let's just kumbaya all of this. It didn't happen. Let me let me put this in context, okay? Damian Lillard requested a trade, and through the media and maybe his agent, through Adrian Wojnarowski, was literally saying, I requested a trade, and I only want to go to one team only, the Miami Heat. Any other team that trades for me, you better know I'm not going to show up in training camp. Listen, knowing all of this sets up the context to basically a great showdown, because even the information coming from the Miami Heat office is that they were doing everything in their power to get this player to the Miami Heat. And please don't get me started with that argument that you just mentioned that the Heat just need like any other point guard. They needed a star. Miami has gone to 2 straight NBA finals. Not straight finals, but they went to 2 NBA finals in the last 4 years. And you're telling me that they don't need another superstar to come by and help? Because clearly Bam Adebayo wasn't the answer for the Miami Heat. He showed up probably 1 or 2 games every series, but that wasn't enough. Jimmy Butler has consistently showed that he is on an empty tank. He's literally asking for more help when the Eastern Conference Finals come up. And then when it's NBA Finals, when they do get there, clearly he's like out of energy. He's clearly looking to pass the ball because he doesn't have the energy. He was injured when they played the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals this past year. So I'm just really surprised by your take. I thought you were going to be this Miami Heat fan who would clearly going to criticize the Heat organization, and they were going to criticize Pat Riley for basically selling a dream to all the fans, not only the Miami Heat fans, for all of us, thinking that we were going to have another superstar next to Jimmy Butler, which was clearly something that he asked for. This is not to take away from Bam Adebayo, by the way. I think he's a good player. He's not a superstar. That's why Jimmy was asking for a better player. The fact that Damian Lillard was willing to come here, play for the franchise, and play for Coach Spoelstra said a lot. The fact that it didn't happen, I think, is more on the Miami Heat organization. And the fact that they announced this, if they didn't put it out there, because let's say something, this was a strategy between the player and the team. It had to come out as a strategy, basically saying the only team that we're going to go is Miami. It backfired. It wasn't the right strategy, okay? Now, going to the trade that actually happened, let's just put the Miami Heat on the side. They're clearly the losers of this scenario. Going to Milwaukee, I didn't expect it. I was hearing from Watch and Champs that it was other teams getting involved. Maybe Toronto, maybe the Bulls. I didn't see him as a fit there. Probably a lot of players who have to come back to make the trade happen, especially because of the amount of money that he's making. But it ended up happening that he goes to Milwaukee. A lot of people are talking about the pick and roll that they're going to form. I don't know. Damian Lillard is a different type of player, and so is Giannis. I'm still doubting how it's going to work. Is he better than Drew Holiday? Yes, for sure. It's clearly an upgrade. An upgrade that they needed, especially thinking or going back to the playoff series where they faced each other, right? Where Miami destroyed a Milwaukee team that was lacking energy and obviously was missing Giannis. But the point is, I don't know if you guys remember, Jimmy Butler was talking trash to Drew Holiday. He's considered one of the best defenders in the NBA, and Jimmy Butler himself was talking trash to him and basically saying, "You're trash. You're not the defender that everybody says you are." Okay? So I just think it's so funny that at the end of the day, Damian Lillard ends up in Milwaukee. Now, moving on from that to what is the context of the Eastern Conference? We clearly have a championship contender in Milwaukee, even before the trade. But now it's clearly a race between, I believe, these two teams. It's going to be Milwaukee for the number one spot in the East, and then the Celtics. Let's remember that the Celtics got even better. They signed Jaylen Brown to an extension, and they also got Kristaps Porzingis, who is the lost love of my boy, the kid. Okay, he's the lost love that can never be, because Anyways, the point is that I think that it's going to be a race between those two teams. Will they win it all? I don't think so. I think it's going to take a lot of time to build that chemistry and to build that pick and roll everyone says it's going to be deadly. Because so far, props to Milwaukee for listening to his superstar, who was probably like a month ago. He went on national TV and said, "I don't know if I'm going to stay in Milwaukee. I need to see them making some moves because right now." And listen, this is why I believe that Giannis saying this in national television is not a knock on him, and he actually did the right thing. Why? Because he earned it. He literally won a championship for the city of Milwaukee, but he also won it for Drew Holiday and for Chris Middleton. So he going out to the media and saying, "Hey, listen, I need to see new players." That basically meant one thing: that either Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday were going to get traded. And you know what? It doesn't matter because he was the centerpiece for that championship in Milwaukee. So him having the balls to say it, I applaud him for that. I applaud the Milwaukee front office. Too bad I can't say the same for the Miami office. That's my point.
Can I share with you Damian Lillard's point totals? Since 2020, he was at 30 points a game. He went down the next year to 28.8, went down to 24. So he's been trending down. Now this year he's up to 32, so he's been flexing a little bit this year. But it does seem like his numbers are trending down. How old do you think he is now?
He's 33 years old, okay, and he's a point guard. Let's say it's a demanding position.
Yeah.
What was Damian Lillard's last injury? He tore his abs.
Really?
Yeah. How do you tear your abs, bro? How does that happen, bro?
Sounds like a thing an old man would do. It sounds like something would happen to me.
Correct. Well, not to you, but now there are 2 points that I agree with most of the Eagles' points, but there are 2 points that I'd like to make. Let's pass to the kid first. My bad.
Yeah, you're skipping around. You can't do that.
I know.
The professor's just stating the law. He's not letting the kids talk.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're having some technical difficulties with the kid. We couldn't hear you. So go ahead and then tell us what were you trying to say, Professor?
Oh, two things real quick. One, what is the last NBA champion to have 2 superstars? 2 actual superstars. I looked it up. You have to go all the way back to 2018. Most of your champions after have only had 1.
Just one.
So when you're actually
wait. I can make the argument that the Denver Nuggets only had 2 starts in Jamal Murray and Jokic.
Yeah, but no, the superstars. And low key, when you're looking at Murray, nobody called Murray anything.
Right.
So if you're being honest, if you're really being honest, just 1. And that's
okay.
So the question is, when you're looking at building a team, what is it you're really having to do? You have your 1 superstar and you build a machine around that 1 person that's balanced in offense and defense. And what do all those championship teams have in common? Championship level defense. It's not championship level offense across the board. Right. That's 1. Second point, when you're looking at the Eastern Conference, ever since LeBron left, our way of analyzing the Eastern Conference has been all over the place. Every single year, you hear about the same 2 teams, Sixers, Celtics. Never happens for either one of them. Then Giannis pops up, and now all of a sudden, Giannis the favorite. Only pulls it off once. How many finals appearances? I think it was only 1 so far, right?
Once.
Yeah,
just 1.
Yeah. And when you're looking at the Heat have snuck into that Eastern Conference Finals. What is it? 3 times so far? When you count that and their very last appearance and the additions that they made over the summer, they're the clear favorite. And then when you add the fact that the Boston Celtics lost their point guard and one of their backup point guards, they're essentially a whole different team with a completely inexperienced coach. Get him out of here. There are only 2 teams right now in the Eastern Conference that actually matter. If you're being honest, it's the Heat and it's the Bucks. And even then, do the Bucks have the same coach? They have a new one too, don't they?
Okay, but counterpoint, real quick.
Why don't we talk the counterpoint? Before you get to the counterpoint, let's try to see if we could try to get the kid to put his voice out there.
Okay, yeah, let's get the kid.
The poor guy.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Perfect.
All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We have to stand in awe at the performance of the professor. I thought the actor strike wasn't over. Clearly it is. We have to stand in awe. Go ahead, Chris.
No, that's you. I'm giving you a point.
While I agree with 50% of what you're saying, Professor, I think that we're missing one. Everybody has a great take on this. I just think we're missing one very important element of this. Dame Lillard has been historically known as what? A closer who's never gone far in the playoffs, but he's a really good player. That's Dame Lillard. So he's a little bit better than Tracy McGrady.
Ooh. But you're right, though.
Going back to what the ramifications are there. For the Heat, it just looks bad because the Heat, bless you, because the Heat, it just looks bad because it's the idea of like you're telling your boy, I'm going to get this girl for 6 months, and then she ends up with your boy. So aesthetically, that Heat looked bad. But realistically, Portland was basically saying, you're going anywhere but there. So Miami was kind of like they dug their own hole. You shouldn't have been talking crap, and then at the same time, Portland wasn't going to play with you. From Milwaukee's point of view, Milwaukee was known for Giannis three-point shooting and their defense. Their defense was number one in the NBA the last 3 years, and they were the number one seed in the Eastern Conference last year. When you take away Drew Holiday and everybody gets a year older, and then you add a 33-year-old guy who had his best year of his career last year statistically, could he replicate that again? I don't know. Could injuries come up? I don't know. Vegas has them already as the favorite for the East. I think they're the paper champions of the East, barring any future transaction. But that doesn't mean when it comes to regular season, they're going to be the best team in the East. And even with Dame Lillard, great, you got Dame Lillard. Miami's still going to be that hard, tough, competitive team. Boston is always going to be Boston. The biased fans, they think that every year Jason Tatum, this is the year for Jason Tatum. Philly has James Harden. That the only reason why he's still in Philly is because apparently he still goes to strip clubs. Like, they have problems.
Yeah, you can't trade your way to culture. Ultimately, that's the one thing you got to say. I'm an Orlando Magic fan, but I got to tell you, I admire the Miami Heat. I watch them from over here, and I go, "That's how you win." You know,
we build what we need.
That's right.
The problem is
that's how you win. Oh man.
The problem is, Chris, to your point, is that the professor has made an egregious argument saying that he can just plug and pull dudes. Everybody who saw eyes in the last two finals, by the way, the Miami Heat is 2020 against the Lakers, right? Where supposedly Jimmy Butler got so exhausted that no, the team wasn't good enough. / Hero was injured, but you were still going to lose that finals. And then this one, the most recent one, with the exception of the blind witness Miami fans, everybody who had eyes knew you weren't going to stop Nikola Jokic.
It wasn't happening.
Even the Laker fans, who, by the way, were a better team than Miami on paper. That was a 4-0 series. The Lakers got swept by the Denver Nuggets. What chance would Miami had? And Jamal Murray, by the way, to your point, now he's a superstar. Now.
Really?
He got his ring. And every Laker fan saw Jamal Murray destroy them in what used to be called the Staples Center. But to your point, I think they're the paper champions, but it doesn't negate the fact that the champions are still going to come out of the Western Conference, whether it be the Lakers, whether it be the Nuggets, whether it be the Warriors, or to our rules thing, hopefully the Sacramento Kings.
Yes, sir.
Dark horse. Yeah.
Not against the Lakers.
I mean, can we just talk for a second about Damian Lillard, though, if we're here still?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Does anybody have a reason? Why hasn't he won?
Oh, I can tell you. I can tell you exactly why he hasn't won. I can tell you exactly why he hasn't won.
Go ahead.
The reason why Damian Lillard hasn't won is because people gassed him up and made him think that he's Steph Curry, but he's not. Because there are many, and when Steph Curry retires, people will go back and they will look at the complexity of his game and understand what they're looking at. Damian Lillard is not that. His handle is not as good. He does not pass as early. He has no consistent mid-range game at all, and he plays no defense, and he's not as fast. So when he tries to copy that playing style, it doesn't lead to the same results. Because let's be clear, there's this myth that the Portland Trailblazers are a bad team. That is not true. If you take Damian Lillard off and you put Steph Curry on, hold on. Hear me out on this. If you were to give Steph Curry Nurkic and you're going to give Steph Curry, what's his face? The other guy who got traded to New Orleans?
CJ McCullough.
McCollum. Is that a championship team? No, it's not. I'm not going to tell that lie. But could Steph Curry take that to the Western Conference Finals? Yeah, he can. Let's be honest. Yes, he can. Are they going to win the Western Conference Finals? No. But they'll make it there a couple times, though.
You're diminishing the impact of not only the system of the Golden State Warriors, which is mainly Steph Curry, but you're diminishing the impact of other elements that we quickly forget that Draymond Green was the Defensive Player of the Year. Draymond Green is a historically defensive player. Klay Thompson, before his injury, I'll say now, actually, I don't care if it's a hot take or not. Klay Thompson is the second greatest shooter in the history of basketball.
Yeah.
Wow.
CJ McCullough is a C guy compared to Klay Thompson's prime. So that theory of you taking you're right, and I agree with you. I guess what we disagree is the idea of what you went for. I agree with you. The reason why he hasn't won was two things. One is the overhype of the media of him doing that last second shot, saying bye or whatever. How about you do that in the NBA Finals game? I don't care if it's the first round. Do it when it matters. And the second thing is, unfortunately, I don't know a lot of dudes who are saying, you know what I want to play though? Portland, Oregon. That's a problem.
Thank you.
That's a problem. Go ahead, Eagle.
Yeah, I have a few things to say. And first of all, I think it's unfair to Damian Lillard to argue he's not as good as you think, because I'll agree with this. He was hyped. He was definitely hyped. But there is something else. It was granted. He is an amazing player, okay? And to start your argument by comparing him to probably the greatest pointer in history, if it's not for Magic Johnson, probably the greatest shooter in history, it's unfair to him. Okay, we're not seeing the lights of Damian Lillard because we're comparing him to Stephen Curry. Let's just put that aside for a second. I love the point that the kid made about the context. Where does he play? It's the same situation as the Sacramento Kings. Do you see free agents, when they're looking at when they're talking to their agent and they're like, okay, this is my free agent year. I'm clearly going to get paid. Who are the teams interested in me, right? Or which are the teams that have the money that I can go to? And they're probably saying, well, Sacramento has plenty of money to pay you. And they're going to say, well, you know what? Good for them, but I'm not the one who's going to sign that contract. Maybe some other player will, but I'm not willing to go to Sacramento. They say the same thing about Oregon, okay? I'm sorry. Portland, they say the same thing. It just happened that Lillard was putting a bunch of players. He was the glue. Come on, guys. You cannot tell me that Damian Lillard was overachieving every single year that he took that Portland team to the playoffs with the group of people that he had next to him. Let's say how it is. You mentioned that Stephen Curry with Nurkic and some other guy would have taken that Oregon Portland team to the conference finals. But guess what? CJ McCollum, right? Well, guess what? Damian Lillard also did. And you know who he lost to Stephen Curry? Okay, it was the dynasty years of the Golden State Warriors. The fact that he was able to go through the Western Conference, guys, he was playing in Portland. Historically, the Western Conference is a tougher conference than the East. Why? Well, because the best players play there, the best teams play there. You cannot tell me that Denver has to be. Let me put it to you this way: over the last 5 years, since LeBron got to the Lakers, they have been competitive. Okay, let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. They have Devin Booker and they have Chris Paul. Whatever happened this year, KD is there. But for the last 3 or 4 years, those are teams that you cannot joke around. Okay, those teams in regular season will take a win at home and away. Okay, you cannot say the same thing about Portland. Okay,
hold on. I gotta push back on something. I talked about this for years, going back to like the law school days. I gotta talk to you about this. You can't say, first of all, Dame Lillard, Dame Lillard, bro, is not even the best player in the history of the Portland Trailblazers franchise.
What does that have to do? What does that have to do with Dame being a great player?
I'm getting to it. Relax. I'm getting to it. The second thing, me and you have this conversation before, so I know where you're going.
I know.
Oh, Dame Lillard. The problem that you said right now is that that's an excuse. I think that's a horrible excuse. Because you're not Steph Curry, we're not gonna hold you to this. You're a professional basketball player.
There's only one Steph Curry. What are you talking?
Yo, bro, hold on. You're supposed to, according to you, because I don't think Dame Lillard is amazing. I don't think Dame Lillard should go to the Hall of Fame. I think Dame Lillard is a little bit better than Tracy McGrady. Yeah, that's the bar. That's not Hall of Fame. That's not the whole thing. What has Dame Lillard done in his career? I'll sit here and wait in the postseason. What has he done?
He made a rap album.
Yeah,
pretty
made
good.
a rap album. There you go.
Listen to it.
There you go. Oh, the problem is
Also mediocre.
the problem. Correct. The problem is the problem is that we live in the world where prisoners of the moment. Hot take: Clyde Drexler did everything better than Dame Lillard in a Trailblazer uniform.
That's not a hot take because it's a fact.
It is a fact. It really is.
You went to the finals. Oh, because we live in today's world and we see Dame doing these shots. Oh, who's better, Clyde or Dame? Before the professor goes, who's better, oh?
You tell me, because I want to know who was his teammate, Clyde's teammate, when he did what he did. Okay, you tell me.
They weren't superstars. He was the superstar.
They
Kevin
were better
Duckworth?
players than the
If Michael
scrubs
Jordan-
that Damian Lillard was playing with.
Okay.
Clyde Drexler better over
Go
Dame
ahead,
Lillard.
Chris.
Does
I have
Damian
two
Lillard even
things.
have a nickname? Have they even given him a nickname out there in Portland?
Yeah, Dame Dollar.
Game time.
Dame
Oh
Dollar
yeah.
does, yeah.
Question where I was
yeah.
going, by the way, Raul, because I definitely don't want to part with my UCF brother. I want to be on the same page with you. Where I was going with it though, with Dame was I was thinking about culture again. I was saying this guy, to me, he's never been exposed to a winning culture. He's been out in Portland, which has been, I mean, they've had some marginal success like we're talking about now, whether it was Walton in the 70s or their success with Clyde in the 80s. But they don't have a winning culture. They don't know how to win out there. He's never had anybody show him. So at 33 years old, I don't know how. I mean, can the old dog learn new tricks, right?
Yeah.
Can he learn? Is he going to turn into some different guy at 33?
No, you make a great point there, because I'll say this: it was the time for him to go. Probably he requested for a trade too late in his career, and this is something that the kid has a question and criticized about Damian Lillard. Damian, for probably the last 7 years, he prided himself on being that guy who would stay with the team that drafted him through his entire career, and he wouldn't leave until he got a ring or maybe an NBA Finals appearance. And it got to a point where the dysfunction of the team, not necessarily, it was more of the franchise itself, got him to a point where, listen, I'm not going to be able to win unless I get out of this team. And he requested a trade. It took him too long to realize this. Okay.
Yeah.
But that,
No.
Not
Load me up.
How'd you make it real loud?
Load me. I'm ready. I have. Okay. Number one. My first question for everyone is: why is it something to think about? Why is it the media didn't talk about the Denver Nuggets at all before they win? Why did no one have any idea who was even on their roster? Being the only person living on the West Coast, I can tell you exactly why. It's because of the Lakers media rights. The Lakers are always on TV on this part of the country 24/7. As a result of that, all the smaller market teams on the West Coast, no one watches any of their games. So if you're the Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets, the Portland Trailblazers, or the Sacramento Kings, no one has any idea who's on your roster. In the Eastern Conference, it's completely different. So here's what happens. There is this myth that Damian Lillard has no help, right? But how many people can actually name the Blazers roster, the Blazers depth chart? So how is anyone going to argue that he has no help if we don't even know who's on his team? I looked it up. I looked it up. There was a year where this man had Carmelo Anthony before he was washed. Remember that?
before? No.
Hold on. No, listen. I'm not finished. I'm not finished. Because remember what his role was. So remember, you have Carmelo Anthony after he's committed to playing off the bench. That's an easy 16 points. That's enough points. Let's be honest. You had CJ McCollum at the same time, younger. You also had Nurkic. He was healthy that year. He had Covington. He was also healthy that year. And he had Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons is so good, the Blazers said, we don't even need Dame anymore. That's how good he was. And going back to your other point, why did Damian Lillard request a trade? Because he saw his replacement. That's what happened. He got replaced not once, not twice, but 3 times. They have 3 guards on their team who can evolve to be a better version of himself. And when he sat down, he saw the writing was on the wall, and he was like, they don't need me here. Let's go back to last year. If you look at Anthony Simons' playing style and his point totals, he's basically a younger version of the same thing. He plays the exact same way. Damian Lillard couldn't win with a copy of himself. And he literally and he has convinced the NBA world that he had no help. But let's not forget, he not only has a copy of himself, he had a healthy Robert Covington, one of the best defenders in the NBA at the power forward position. He also had the guy from the Sixers, Thibault. Remember Matisse Thibault? He's in the Blazers too. Did you know that?
Yeah.
He's a good perimeter defender. You had a good perimeter defender, a good defender in the paint. You had Nurkic, who was healthy, I believe, towards the end of the year, and you had a clone of yourself, and you went nowhere. That's a good roster. Look at that roster.
Yeah, those are good points. It really is. So let's go ahead and look at those three teams that did the trade. We have the Bucks, the Blazers, and the Suns. So out of those three teams, who do you think won this trade? And let's go ahead and jump into Suarez.
Who got DeAndre Ayton? Who got DeAndre Ayton?
The Blazers.
Broken ball, right? That guy is he's still young too, right? That guy's like 25 years old, something like that. He's super young. So wherever he went, I think those guys won. Honestly, I think they also got some of the future. He went to Portland. Well, never mind. They're not going to do anything with it anyway. Can't win. They don't know how to win. Same thing for Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons is asking for the trade now. Look at what your carbon copy is doing. What Lillard doing, and put the trade request in now, son. Don't waste your whole life. You got a whole life ahead of you.
So who do you pick then? If you want, I tell you like who went who if you need to.
Yeah. Well, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Portland get the future also? They got the draft picks.
Yeah.
Correct. They got Drew Holiday. They got DeAndre Ayton, Tomani Camera, the 2029 first round pick, and 2 pick swaps.
Yeah, I like the options. I'm a big guy on the futures also. Developing, have something to plan around or whatever. I think that's probably good. And Ayton is an all-world talent. That guy's good. So it's good to have him there. But I think they won the trade. I just don't think the outcome is really going to be what they're hoping for. Something to build on.
Perfect. Cool. So we got one over here for our Blazers. Professor, who do you think?
It's a no contest. It's the Blazers. And I'll tell you why. The depth chart. When you're looking at the depth chart, you have Scoot Henderson, who's a walking engine, as your point guard. You have Anthony Simons, who's basically Damian Lillard, the part 2, as your shooting guard. So they basically have 2 players who can pretty much start on their own teams, period. Shaedon Sharpe off the bench, who's mini Damian Lillard at that. You have Thibault at your small forward, Jeremy Grant as your power forward, and you have and you've got DeAndre Ayton as your center. And the thing is, when you're looking at the problem with the culture in Portland, it was Dame the entire time. They already fixed the problem. You get them out of there. You get those young people. They said you're not gonna do it. They said you trash. You give them some heart. Especially DeAndre Ayton. He's been getting picked on and bullied by his own team for years. You don't think he's gonna try to kill the Suns every time he sees them? Listen. They're not going to be great.
He's in conference. They're going to have to face him all the time. What a night.
Listen, they messed up. They really did. Yeah. They're not going to win a championship anytime soon, but do they have the building blocks to get there in about 3 to 5 years? Absolutely.
All right. So that makes it 2-0 in this one. Eagle, what's going to be your take on this one? Who wins this the trade deadline?
Listen, bro, I'm wearing glasses. I'm not blind. I'm not going to say that. Okay? Because the professor's making me look bad today. All his takes, I have to say, I disagree, especially with his take on Damian Lillard and blaming him for the Portland Blazers not being a better team. Okay, all the players that you just mentioned, trash. I'm looking for the trash right now because you know what? When I look at my trash, I'll probably find Matisse Thybulle. I'm gonna find a Fernie Simmons. Scoot Henderson is probably the only player they drafted this year that is probably going to develop into an amazing player. Okay, but wait. Okay, but that's my take. That's probably my hot take. Another hot take. You mentioned 3 to 5 years. They can develop these players to make some trades, maybe draft some other players. I'm telling you right now, Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. Portland is going nowhere. They stay in the same place at the bottom of the Western Conference. Okay, I can tell you that because I root for a team who stayed in fucking the bottom of the Western Conference Finals for years. I'm finally peaking. Okay, I'm seeing the light. Okay, and I can tell you it's hard to get out of the bottom of the Western Conference. Okay, now going to the question that yes, I think that the winner of this trade has to be the Phoenix Suns. Okay, they traded away a great talent that is DeAndre Ayton, but he wasn't happy there. Okay, he wasn't a good fit for what the team has right now. They have a great player in Kevin Durant, and they need bench. Okay, they need players coming out of the bench because their starting five is going to be amazing. They're going to have offense. They're going to have defense. Okay, they have a good coach. Now they needed some player off the bench, and I think although Joseph Nurkic is not, a big defensive guy, I think he's a good body. He's clearly good offensively, and he's gonna have, a tough nine most of the nights because they're gonna be playing the Western Conference, and they're gonna be facing the Lakers a lot. They're gonna be playing Denver a lot, so they're gonna need a big body coming off the bench, or maybe even starting. Who knows? It depends how he comes in physically, whatnot. But I think Phoenix made the right trade. They didn't have to give away any picks. They if anything, they are probably the team of the offseason. Okay, they have Devin Booker, they got Bradley Beal, they still have Kevin Durant, and now they added Nurkic, and they traded DeAndre Ayton away, which was a big contract. Okay, so they're also saving a lot of money, looking at it from the tax perspective. So in my opinion, I think the Suns.
All right,
that's fair. That's a good take.
Good take. Yeah, and then let's close it up. The kid, who do you got?
On paper, I guess the national media and the national consensus is going to be the Bucks, but I'm not going there because I think the Bucks, they're not gonna. They might win the East, but they're not gonna make it to the finals. It's got to be the Phoenix Suns. And here's the thing: I agree with the Eagle. What I don't agree with the Eagle. And I agree with the and I'll get to why I agree with it, but what I disagree with is what you said in the beginning. Because you seem to absolve Dame Lillard of his deficiency. Right? And I don't want to get into Dame Lillard because Lord knows Portland had enough failures with Dame Lillard for the last 11 years.
Leave that man alone.
Because again, according to Raul, Dame Lillard didn't do anything wrong. It's the organization, it's the culture. He gets absolved of liability. Whatever. Anyway,
who won the trade? Come on, who won the trade? Leave Dame Lillard alone.
The Phoenix Suns won the trade because while the Lakers won the offseason, good job, Ye. They won the offseason. While Dame Lillard, the blockbuster deal just happened hours ago, the Phoenix Suns needed one thing to compete. If you saw the second round matchup last year against the Denver Nuggets, that was two things. One, there was huge contention with DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns. They were bullying him. The media was bullying him. Monty Williams,
so bad.
Monty Williams was on the verge of quitting. He gave an ultimatum to the Phoenix Suns. It's either me or DeAndre Ayton. That's how much contention there was with DeAndre Ayton. Kevin Durant openly said when he got traded, but he said, but the reports were that they didn't like the way that he came across the way he took being a professional serious. So let's take away DeAndre Ayton for it.
Whoa, I didn't know any of this about DeAndre.
Yeah, so DeAndre Ayton, Chris, to your point, DeAndre Ayton is an unbelievable talent. I think he's good. The problem was there was reports in the Phoenix organization that DeAndre Ayton, who was the number 1 overall pick years ago, should have been way over here as opposed to where he is over here now. He's a good player, Chris. But when you're the number 1 overall player, the bar is a little bit harder for you, and he never reached that bar. So the Suns needed two things. They needed to let go of the Chris Paul deal, with a horrible contract, let go of the DeAndre Ayton deal, horrible contract, and what they needed to compete against the Denver Nuggets last year. They needed size, speed, and bench. Now that they have, their bench is averaging between 25 and below. The guys they picked up in the offseason, Professor, 6'7" and or higher. They're not playing around. They got wings.
I've been swayed, Professor. I've been swayed.
I have a dark opinion.
So now, one more thing. Now, think about it. Who's running point guard for the Phoenix Suns? Did you hear that, by the way? Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is running point guard for the Phoenix Suns. Who's running shooting guard? Oh, the guy in the NBA cover 2 years ago, Devin Booker, who's amazing. Oh, and by the way, Kevin Durant, they openly said the reason why they get these wings 6 feet apart, so Kevin Durant can take 30, 40 games off for what? First round of the playoffs. He's healthy. The Phoenix Suns are the dark horse in the Western Conference. Not because of who they got in the offseason and they let go of these contracts. They're not done yet. They're going to keep wheeling and dealing. To end the part of the discussion, on paper, it's Dame Lillard because the media says it's Dame Lillard. But if you've been watching, if you're doing this in basketball, you've been following basketball, the Phoenix Suns finally got what they wanted. They let go of 2 horrible contracts, and they got, like you said, Chris, they're building a culture of they let go of negativity for the idea of you two guys lead us, and we're going to work our asses off to win you guys a ring.
I've been swayed. Great argument. I've been swayed. Addition by subtraction is a real thing.
Wow. Okay.
I wasn't aware of the facts on Ayton.
We're going to backtrack and you're going to go Suns now, huh?
Yeah, for a guy that doesn't work hard, I didn't know that about Ayton. Just like you said, it's the casual fan like myself who didn't know that I see Ayton's no world talent. In 2K, he's amazing, but I didn't know he doesn't work.
There's a lot of tension, Chris. There's a lot of tension between him and the organization.
You got to get that cancer out of there for sure.
Let me tell you something that happened in the offseason the year before with DeAndre Ayton. He was a restricted free agent. That meant that he could sign an offer sheet with any other team, and Phoenix had the ability to match it so they could keep him on the team. He went ahead and he signed an offer sheet with the Indiana Pacers, a big contract. And the problem was that Phoenix had to match it. It's not because they wanted him, but because they didn't want the player. They were already butting heads. But it was because of the value that he had in a trade like today. And this is why they did it. And they had to endure this horrible year and the fights between DeAndre Ayton and the front office and the coach just to get to this point today. It was criticized, back then, but now it makes sense.
I bet they were saying sunken cost fallacy. You're sinking your cost. They're thinking now they're getting their value out of it though now. So it's come full circle soon, huh?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah,
I actually thought it was going to be the tiebreaker in this one between the Blazers and the Suns, but since Suarez switched over, there really is no need for a tiebreaker. I'm a casual NBA fan. I'm more of a Lakers fan. I really don't watch much. But the way I see it, the media usually gets it right, especially since they know what they're talking about. We're talking about Dame, who this past season had 32.2 points per game. You have the Greek Freak, who averaged 31.1 points per game. They're the only team right now to have 2 players that average 30-plus points coming in and joining together. And like Stephen A. said earlier, this is going to be a lethal team. This is a sniper that the Bucks can actually pass the ball to, and he's a sniper. He's a closer for them. I think the Bucks could potentially be more lethal, and they got what they needed to be able to get to that next level now. I get we're looking at the future when we're looking at the Suns, but right now, Milwaukee might be the team to look at in the East.
Okay.
So, we'll put it right there. 1 for the Bucks, 1 for the Blazers, 3 for the Suns. Any last thoughts before we close this video?
Sergio, great job, the kid. You won me over on that one. It's important. You got to be malleable. You got to be willing to change. You got to be willing to take the information and pivot.
Chris, that's why you have integrity and the Eagle doesn't, right? You're a man of honor. You have logical, reasonable sense. You went to a great undergrad.
We're not going to let them do this to us, Raul. We're not going to let them do this to us. Okay? We're together. We're together in this.
Listen, man, I'll say this.
Take this. Take this.
Yeah, you already know what time it is. Hey, Suarez, go ahead and tell us where can we go ahead and follow you here on YouTube?
We're on the Public Trust Network on YouTube. The Public Trust Network on YouTube. My name is Christian Suarez. That's my name across all handles. And that's my handle across all platforms. Thank you guys.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you. Special thanks for you for that. Special thanks to LAMEBOT, who is the musician behind our music. And of course, our guys over here for coming in and, always bringing in some amazing analysis. Till next time, guys, thank you for visiting us. Please like, comment, and follow us over here.
Thank you, nerds.
Nerd breaking news.
Talk to you guys.
It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Ah, that was fun.
Always fun.
I think you're still recording.
Yeah, Raul, you're killing me.